startup approach you?
Well, we have three ways that startups get to us. Startups that are in the very, very early stages, or student startups, they usually come through one of the academic channels that we have. Then there are also what we have as a BizSpark program. They apply through that. But primarily, the biggest source for us is what we call as the Accelerate program. So Accelerate program is for all startups that want to engage with Microsoft. So it's one program that they need to apply to, and they get access to one or the other programs in Microsoft. So last time when we ran the Accelerate program intake, we had close to 1,850 applications. So if you really look at it, there are about 4,000 startups, tech startups in the country. So about half of them actually applied to Microsoft, which is a very telling figure.
Okay, and how do you choose what startup to pick? What are some of the criteria that you consider before picking up a startup?
Yeah, as you can well imagine, we will only go after the startups that we feel we are best suited to support. So technologically, mentoring wise, the ability to take them to customers, all have to be something within what Microsoft does well. So we pick very tech oriented startups, product startups, companies that are actually building on the cloud, building on the mobile, and companies that are actually looking to take this to the global stage, which is what Microsoft can do extremely well for these startups. So it's a little bit of a self-selection process that way, that we actually gravitate to those kinds of companies, and that's what we take into our our core program called the Accelerator program. There are other programs also we run, which is a little bit more broad. The BizSpark program, for example, or other go-to-market programs that we run, which they can also be a part of, but that will be not as limiting as the core program that we run.
So tell us a little bit more about the Accelerator program. Once you take a startup into that program, how does it proceed from there on? What kind of help? Do you also provide a little bit of seed funding for the startup perhaps, or is it just solutions for startups?
Yeah, so currently we don't fund startups. We used to have a fund, and we potentially may have a fund in the future, but as of today we don't fund companies. We primarily look at companies which are in the tech space that are looking to build products. So we provide a lot of mentoring, both business mentoring and technology mentoring. We provide a lot of help in terms of technology enablement. So the Azure credits or any of the other capabilities that they require from Microsoft, we offer that to them. And then the biggest thing I think for a startup, be it a early stage or a late stage startup, is the ability to actually get to market. And we would like to think that everybody on the planet is a customer of Microsoft one way or the other. So we have that kind of a reach. So we have the ability to provide these startups some very early feedback of the market, or if they're looking to grow their revenues, like startups that you see here, these are companies that have actually built their products. They are ready to go to the market in a big way, and that's where we come in and play a significant role.
Okay. So I was just speaking to a startup here. They told me that there is a 4-month time period for which you take startups into the program. How does that work? Is it always a 4-month time period, or does it depend on the growth of the startup or the way it's proceeding?
Yeah, so we are trying to programatize the engagement with the startup. So once these startups are chosen into the accelerator program, it's a 4-month program. It's a very intense engagement with the company, getting to learn more about the startup, getting them to learn what is it that we bring to the table, and there is a certain level of engagement. As you know, in 4 months we can't completely wash our hands off of a relationship. It is just the beginning of a relationship. It's actually creating the foundations of what we can do in the future. So a lot of the startups that you see here, these are startups that have actually passed through the program earlier. They have graduated in a way, but then they are part of the family. Now we have close to about 80 startups as part of the core portfolio, and these are companies that will continue to be there, till either they get bought out or something else. But the 4 months is just the beginning of an engagement with the startup.
Also, we've seen a boom in the startup industry in India. As you said, 4,000 plus startups. That was the NASSCOM report as well. Do you think we are slowly moving towards a startup bubble, which is a little reminiscent of the dot-com bubble?
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen. There is always this exuberance about startups and wanting to be funding startups, at different levels. So today, the predominant piece of the startup world are the e-commerce startups, the marketplaces that are being created and attracting funding from people outside of India as well. So these actually are creating certain unnatural, I guess, valuations and so on and so forth. But in a way, it's okay, because I think this is a cycle that every startup ecosystem will go through, and I think it's just a good way to mature the ecosystem. So we are definitely attracting a lot more investors into India, which is a great thing. We're also beginning to see a lot of M&A in India.
But as compared to the number of startups growing in India, the amount of investment coming in is not that big. I mean, according to the NASSCOM report I read, it's about 3 billion in the past 3 years, which is not a very big figure.
Well, depending on what you want to compare
comparing it to a country like US.
Yeah, so that is definitely the case. If you look at those absolute terms, it is the case. But if you see year-on-year growth, I think it's phenomenally healthy growth for us.
What kind of growth do you project in the next, say, 2 to 3 years in terms of the kind of money flowing in?
So I think the NASSCOM report will also tell you by 2020, I think we are looking at close to about
11,500.
11,500 startups.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 times what we are today. So there is a healthy growth of these kind of startups, and these are propelled by the fact that there is a way for these startups to find an exit, where they either get acqui-hired or they get bought out, either in India or outside. So I think the Indian ecosystem is definitely on a year-on-year healthy rise, and the fact that there is also a good trajectory on the merger and acquisition side, which is also helping a lot of investors get very optimistic about this space and coming into India. So all this is very good, and a lot of these guys will do some kind of a sale and then move on and build a next company which is much larger, which is all very good for the startup ecosystem.
What do you think are some of the policy hurdles that need to be done away with urgently to grow the space?
Yeah, so we work very closely with iSpirit in a lot of these kinds of things, with NASSCOM as well. So we did do an M&A report which showed that there is a lot of possibilities that are opening up for the startups, but they need to do, the government needs to do a lot of things in the back end, which is helping with ease of funding, taxation on funding, which was something that was very unnatural for people to come in and do that. The intellectual property base, being in India and then moving to the US, and the ability for companies to do that well, the ability to repatriate funds, so a lot of these things are still
in talks with the government.
Yeah. So there are lots of initiatives.
A couple of these. Rules.
Yeah. So one by one, you've seen that there is a new exchange or a startup exchange that being put together where a lot of these
Yeah,
are credited in.
read
So
about that.
some of that is coming into place. The taxation issue has not been resolved, but there are talks about that. Intellectual property is something that is also going to be a big issue for companies that they need to resolve. So there are lots of things that will, I think, get ironed out. I think the government is progressive. They want to get more and more of the startup activity going on. So I am very optimistic about all these things, but it takes time because there's so much interdependencies
Yeah,
and
of course.
interconnectedness.
One of the startups that I met back there told me about this really interesting app that they have developed and how they used Microsoft Azure. But when I asked them if they have the app on the Windows platform, they said no. And when I asked them why don't you have it on the Windows platform, they said because the platform is not that popular. So what can you do to kind of do away with that mentality, because Windows phones are good phones, but there's a lot of people who have that mindset that we want to gravitate towards Android or iOS and we're not going to be on the Microsoft store. So what can be done to kind of negate that mentality in the future?
Well, see, a startup is always on the cusp of building something great, and they will build something that is right for the market. And if the market is got a lot of Android users and got a lot of iPhone users, so be it. What we don't want to take away from the startup is their natural capability of being creative and getting to the market. So, if they're not building to Windows, that is perfectly fine. I think as you've seen from what Satya was showing as a demo this morning, he was doing it on an iPhone. So we really don't care from where these users come to us. But as long as they are able to find us, find the fact that we are capable of helping our partners, our startups build products on our cloud and our other platforms, I think is perfectly fine. We are not necessarily trying to take a very a divide and conquer approach. We are going
But
to
are
take
you
an
going to kind of motivate startups to use the Windows Store or probably a Windows device, something around it? Is there a motivation there
Yeah,
as well?
of course. So I think it's a matter of time. I mean, there are certain markets where Windows is more popular than others. So those places, the startup will naturally incline towards doing that. But we can't make them do something that it's not naturally good for them, right? So, but
That
where
will probably happen once Windows devices start coming, like
exactly.
once
So there's more of the Surface tablets out there, and there are more of Nokia's, the Excel phones coming out. It is bound to happen.
okay.
But until that happens, there is no reason for us to unnaturally push them into in a direction that may not be good for them.
All right. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, sir.
Great. Thank you.